Hello. I have sat down to record this video so many times. This is at least the third time, if not more. And I really trying to pull my thoughts together and bring them somewhat to an organized fashion so that I can bring this video to you. But I'm finding that I cannot seem to even pull together an outline of what I want to talk about, because I feel like this is very emotional and I'm trying to pull my emotions out of it as much as I possibly can. But that's a little bit difficult when things have changed in your life so dramatically in such a short period of time. When I started my channel, I did it as kind of an outlet because I needed a creative outlet. I'm a very creative person, my husband says. I like things perfect, so creativity is not always the best thing for me because I want everything to be perfect, right? So creative and perfect do not mix. But I did start this channel as a creative outlet to allow me to do certain things that I really enjoy doing in between working, obviously. So that's what I started it for, and I started in November of 2024. Not long after that, everything kind of just went a little haywire, and I'm trying to stay focused here and explain what is the most important that everybody needs to know. So like I said, I have started to record this multiple times. So it's going to be possibly a little jumbled, but I'm going to try and go like chronological, of how things happened and different things like that to possibly help you. That's my hope, right? I am very much an introvert, so this is not something I would typically do, and this is very unusual for me. But again, I really just wanted to start something, doing a few things here and there around the house that I really enjoyed, and then hopefully somebody may enjoy it along with me. I know that I do like watching certain channels that they do minimalism and they do house updates and different things like that, and cleaning and different things like that. So I do watch quite a few different types of channels, and I thought that this would be perfect for me to go ahead and just kind of put out something that I was interested in. So I really did start with shop with me and a few decorate with me and a few different things like that. I planned on changing my channel a bit and doing more of the home items, the cleaning and the decorating and different things like that, and organizing, minimizing. That was my need to calm down, slow down. That was where I was headed in my channel when I started in November. Not long after that, I started to have a series of issues where I was getting sick every week. It was something different. By December, I did record a video, and I couldn't even do a voiceover or anything like that because I think I did actually do the voiceover, but you could barely hear me. And it wasn't my best quality video, but I'm just trying to push something out. Let me push something out. So at that time, I had lost my voice. I had I think it was like a sinus infection that was starting, and a few other things that it was just like boom, boom, boom. From October to December, I was pretty much sick every single week with something different. So I knew I was worn down. I could feel that, and I understood that. But I kind of wanted to continue on with trying to produce content and push it out, and there are things that I had already recorded, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and just sit here. I can't really do anything anyways. I'm just gonna put the videos out. So I did that. Again, not my best work. I'm not very proud of those videos, but it is what it is. I am learning and trying to grow and build my confidence quite a bit more. That's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. So we're gonna stay on topic though. I'm sorry, sometimes I go and trail off into tangents, and I will really try to keep it focused into what I'm trying to explain. So from October to December, I was, like I said, I was sick almost every single week with something different every single week. By the time the end of December came, it was December 28th, I think, 27th, 28th. Okay, I'm not exactly certain what day, but that's okay. But I think it was the 28th of December. I ended up having an issue with my eye. I was just spending some time with my daughter and doing a puzzle. And when I was doing that puzzle, my vision just kept like getting worse, and my eye was really, really hurting, and I could tell it was really red. I could feel the redness start, right? you know, if you've had an eye infection or different things like that, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's just like the burning sensation that is, you just know that there's something wrong with your eye. But then I started to lose vision, which it's never happened to me before. I have had pink eye, I think, once before, but it was different than that. I don't know exactly how to explain it. It was burning, but it was also like, you know what? It was almost like somebody was grabbing my eye and like squeezing it and really trying to hurt me, to hurt my eye. It was just like pressure and pain throughout my eye. So I'm like, okay, well, I must have scratched it or something, because I was cleaning that day, doing some laundry, and so I'm like, I must have gotten something in it. I scratched it, something happened to it, and that's okay. I'll keep an eye on it and see if anything happens to it, right? So I think that happened about 3 o'clock in the afternoon is when it started to I started to have pain. Within like an hour, 2 hours, I was looking out the back door, and what I could see in the morning, like far away, I could barely see. And it was so painful, and the light, the sensitivity to light, by the time 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock came, it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And this was at night on the 28th of December. So it was like not the best time to have an issue, right? But I had to just go to bed. I tried to keep it closed. It wasn't watering or anything like that. It didn't feel like I scratched it, nothing. Okay, so I'm not, at this point, I don't know exactly what's going on. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead, rest it, because if I scratched it by accident, then maybe it'll start to heal itself at night, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. I woke up in the middle of the night. It was just like, it was like throbbing. It still felt like somebody was holding it, and it was just like water. Tears. Tears. There wasn't anything, it was completely clear. So I knew it wasn't an infection, but I still thought, you know what, I must have scratched it, because I've done that before where I've accidentally caught it with something. I still don't even know to this day what it was, but I know that I scratched my eye, and that's what I thought it could be this time as well. But it was, again, it was different than the last time when I scratched my eye. So I don't think that was the issue either. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sleep this, because it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning. At that point in time, there's nothing that I could really do except kind of wait it out and see what was going on. By the next morning, which was the 29th, was a Sunday morning, I was in major pain. The pain had increased. There was nothing I could do to relieve the pain, to make my eye feel any better. So I decided that I was going to try and get in somewhere. pretty much anywhere that I could at this point. So I looked all around. I get up rather early in the morning, so I looked everywhere to find a place that was open on a Sunday on the 29th of December, which is very close to a holiday. How many people are going to be in, right? So I was able to find one eye doctor that was open on Sunday, which was great. I was very happy about that. And it just so happened that it was actually because it was the end of the year and they were trying to get in people who might need a prescription or something before the end of the year, before their benefits ended. So they're not usually open on Sunday, but they just happened to be open this Sunday, and I was able to get, I walked in. I'm like, okay, to my husband, I'm like, I need you to drive me. I can't see. Can you go ahead and drive me? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I don't know why I even asked, but of course I'm trying to be nice about it, right? So I'm like, okay, I need you to drive me because I cannot do this. I can't drive. It's not safe. So what we ended up doing was, I'm like, okay, we're gonna leave right before it opens so that I can get there as soon as it opens, the door opens, that way I can get in there in case I have to sit for quite a few hours. I'm like, you can go ahead and go back home because it's 15 minutes away, that's okay. I'll give you a call whenever I'm ready. That was awesome. So I was there ready to go. As soon as they opened the doors, I walked in and they looked at me and they're like, oh, we need to see you right away. So I texted my husband, I'm like, don't leave, don't leave. So they saw me right away because when I came in, I explained, I don't think it's an eye infection, but I'm having an eye issue that has started last night. And I explained I did not go to the ER because everything that I was Googling, or ER or urgent care, because when I Googled online, it said that they would end up referring you to an ophthalmologist anyways. So I decided not to go that route, trying to save money, honestly, which again, you don't mess with your eye health. So I probably should have gone because they probably would have been able to figure something out, right? So I kind of kick in myself now that I did not do that, but it is what it is. And I should have changed my mind and actually went to urgent care, I think. But that's a different situation, and I'll know next time if something like that happens, I'm gonna go right away to urgent care. So I was there first thing in the morning whenever they opened, and I came in and I explained what was going on. He asked me, I actually had to wear sunglasses because any light was just like, oh, it was very, very painful to have any light. So I was wearing my sunglasses in the house, and it wasn't even a sunny day. It was a rainy day, actually. Now that I think about it, it was completely rainy, but just any light at all was making it hurt so, so bad. So I showed it to him and he's like, oh, we'll get you in right away. I'm like, okay, thank you. So he was like the top nurse. I think you call them nurses for ophthalmologists. He was the top person, office manager or whatnot. For that location. So he's like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and put you on and we're gonna see you right away. I'm like, okay. So I sat down and then he's like, oh no, we're gonna take you now. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna go ahead in. Okay. So they were able to check me out. And there were people in the waiting room. There were people waiting that probably had an appointment and everything like that. But I think that they were very concerned because of the way that it looked, that they really wanted to get me in and checked out right away. So I was thankful for that. They took it seriously and didn't, they took it seriously. So I appreciate that a lot. So I was able to go in and they checked out my eyes. My vision had gone down significantly. I wasn't able to see hardly anything on the screen because they did just like a traditional eye exam. So what I ended up doing was asking questions like, oh, well, I know it's not pink eye because I don't have I don't have any, I am able to open it. Trying to be nice about it, but there's no mucus or whatever it is for pink eye. And then I'm like, okay, did I scratch it? I'm like, oh. So he was like, well, what were you doing yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. Like before he looked at my eye. I'm like, oh, I was cleaning and washing clothes and different things like that. The normal things that you do on a Saturday when you're not working and you need to get things done, right? So So I explained what I was doing. I'm like, so I don't think it's pink eye. I've had that one time before. This does not feel like pink eye. I said, I've scratched my eye before. This doesn't feel like the same thing either. And he's like, he looks at me, he's like, it looks like an autoimmune response. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Because I'm not exactly sure. And he's like, well, do you have an autoimmune disease? And I'm like, I've not been diagnosed, but I have kind of thought that I might have something because it feels like my body is fighting against me. So he said, it looks like you have an autoimmune response in your eye. Personally, I've never heard of that before. I thought that was very interesting. I didn't know that was possible. So I'm just obviously completely behind and not understanding what could possibly even be going on at this point. So he's like, well, and I'm like, okay, well, why would that happen and how would that happen? And I said, yes, I do feel like my body has been attacking itself and that, yes, I might have an autoimmune. But I thought it was going to be like Hashimoto's or something like that, just because of different symptoms that I was having throughout the last couple years. I went to see a doctor in 2019 and I kind of thought that there might be something going on then. We did tests and everything came back negative, but I still felt like something was brewing. There's no other way to say it other than that. I just felt like something was going on with me. I just couldn't pinpoint what it was. So he's like, well, there looks like you have an autoimmune response in your eye. I'm like, okay, so it's not an infection. Nope. It's not a scratch. Nope. I don't see anything like that. And I said, I did have LASIK. And he's like, oh yeah, I can see the scars from that. It has nothing to do with that. I'm like, well, it's been, I don't know, 15 years at this point. So probably wouldn't have any issues other than the scarring from that, which is typical. That's typical. It's normal. So he's like, okay, so we need to see you back here in a couple days. So he prescribed some steroid drops for my eyes so that the swelling would come down. That way that the red would come down as well and the pain would come down. So it was just my eye was swelling so much that it felt like it was going to explode because it was swollen and red, obviously from the same issue. So he prescribed steroid drops and I needed to do those, and he wanted to see me in 2 days. He wanted me to come back in 2 days. So I ended up scheduling that appointment. So I scheduled the appointment in 2 days so that I could get that completed. I did not really ask him very much else because it did sound like he was like hesitant on what to tell me, if that makes sense. Like almost like he wasn't as experienced as some other people may. So he's like, I want you to see this doctor when you come back on Tuesday. Would have been Sunday, Tuesday. When you come back on Tuesday, I want you to see this doctor. So I scheduled with that doctor because from what I can gather, she understood a little bit more about possible autoimmune issues by the way it sounded, but we didn't spend a lot of time discussing it. So, and he also didn't really have an answer on what it could be. It's just like an autoimmune, whether it's diabetes or if it is rheumatoid arthritis or lupus or different things like that. He kind of he rambled off the major ones, right? So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. So I left that appointment and I was glad that I was able to pick up some steroid shot and drops and able to administer those. So it did help a little bit. Of course, it takes a couple days for that to work, but they didn't want me to be on it for very long and they wanted me to be monitored as I was taking those drops. So that night, I kind of went down a rabbit hole really fast and I decided that I was going to research my symptoms. And really, whenever I started putting in an autoimmune response for the eye, it came back with lupus and RA. So I kind of, again, went down that rabbit hole between those two. I had wanted to get autoimmune, an ANA test, and autoimmune test, but I didn't want to spend the money prior to this happening. But I decided that, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and schedule this as soon as I possibly can. I didn't want to wait for a doctor's appointment and have them run the tests and different things like that, because it's like I wanted to know, right? So it was very important for me to get that information as quickly as I possibly could. So that night, again, I went down a rabbit hole and decided to order my own blood work. I did an ANA test, I did an autoimmune antibody test for all of the major autoimmune issues, and then I had to pay additional for the RA test, and I went back and forth on whether to do it or not. But because all the symptoms were pushing towards probably RA, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna spend that extra, I think it was like $190 some, that extra money to make sure that I have this test back along with the other one, so I can make an informed decision. It's not that I was going to stop trying to get in to see a doctor, but I didn't know with the holidays and everything how that was going to progress. I knew that like if I wanted to see a rheumatologist, that's usually a very long wait. So I really just, I'm like, okay, let me order this because it's in my hands. I can get the results back as quickly as I possibly can. So that's what I ended up doing. So on the 29th, I was able to order the tests, and I was able to schedule at that same time. I was able to get in, the earliest was the 31st, which I was kind of confused. I'm like, are you really open on the 31st? But yes, they were. So I was able to schedule on December 31st. So the issue started on the 28th. The 29th, I went in to see the eye doctor, and then on the 29th, I ordered the blood work, and I was able to go in on the 31st. So I went in to have all of the testing done. So I also did a complete panel as well, because I had done that prior, and I kind of wanted to see what my numbers were. It was not something I really wanted to spend money on, but it was also something that I needed peace in my mind that I can compare my numbers to the ones that I had like 5 years ago. And I can also compare like the ANA and different things like that. And I can kind of like piece things together. And I know that not everybody works that way, but I want to see all numbers. I'm very analytical mindset, and I want to be able to see the numbers and compare them to the last time, see if I was able to fix some of the things that I had been working on for years. Like in 2019, whenever I had the blood work, I was anemic, and I've been working diligently on trying to reverse that and trying to bring my iron level up and folate level and different things like that. So thankfully, whenever I got the blood work back, I did actually come out of that anemic state from 2019 to, yes, I'm just barely over, but I can also understand now why I'm just barely over. But that's a different conversation. So I wanted complete blood work. I did an ANA test, which did lupus and all the others, Sargron and different things like that. It did all the other autoimmunes. And then RA. I did a separate test for that because again, the eye issue was pushing me towards that route. Whew. So I did take those. I did get the results back. So I went in on the 31st, had the blood drawn, and then 2 days later, it wasn't the first, it was the second that they called because of different things going on. They needed, I guess it must be their protocol to contact the patient right away so that they can be informed if something is high or low or positive. So my ANA came back positive. It's 1 over, I think it's over, I think it's something else, but it was 180. So it's just like barely over, and I get that. And I understand why, because I'm early in this disease. Doesn't mean the pain is any different, honestly, but I am early. So I was a positive ANA. They were running all of the individual tests. They had to run all the individual tests, and I had a high CRP and also a high SED rate. So I know my numbers are not extremely high because I'm looking at my paperwork right now, but my CRP was actually just 6.1, so nowhere near what I have heard others have been. But because of the eye issue, positive ANA, SED rate, and CRP higher than the normal, and my eye issue, I'm like, okay, I really need to go see a rheumatologist as quickly as I possibly can. So I actually did not have a PCP at that point in time because after moving here, I didn't end up getting one. And I didn't really like the one that I saw in 2019, so I didn't keep a relationship with her. So I didn't have a regular PCP. So I was able, my husband goes to a doctor and I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and check that out because they have everything in one location, which is great. So I'm like, okay, if I need blood work or whatever it might be, everything is in the same location. So I was able to contact and able to get in a couple days. I was able to make the phone call after January 2nd. I was able to make a phone call, and then I had to wait, I think it was 4 weeks before I could get in to see her, because I think it was 2 weeks, 2 weeks to go in and see her, which was actually awesome because that is such a short wait time compared to what I have heard other people have issues getting in with their PCP and the rheumatologist, and it takes forever to get in. So I was very, very, very thankful that I was able to get into a PCP right away. Now, she actually is, one of her specialties is rheumatology. So that's why I chose her, because I had a choice between like 3 different people. And I chose her because her specialty, her special interest, I think is how they put it on the website. Her special interest is rheumatology. So I thought, you know what, she might be the best person to do this for me to go in and see, because she might be able to get me to the answers just a little bit faster, and to see the rheumatologist that is in that specific office as well, because maybe they have a little bit of a relationship and she can refer me a little bit better, rather than a PCP who doesn't have that knowledge, which I understand that there are a lot of people who don't, a lot of PCPs that do not understand autoimmune at all. I can tell by the conversations that I have read online that so many doctors don't even understand an autoimmune at all, and they question whether the patient has an autoimmune or not. So I wanted to try and bypass that as much as I possibly could. If I couldn't, it was okay. Honestly, it was okay. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead with her because I know that she like is interested. Her special interest is rheumatology. So let me go ahead that route and kind of take that route and see if we can do that. So I was able to get into her on the 20th of January. So it was really just like, it was 10, let's see here, second, so like 18 days. So 18 days later, after I was able to make the appointment, whether I made it on the 2nd or whatnot, but it doesn't really matter. That's okay. It's okay if the details are a little bit off and when I made the appointment, right? So again, everything was happening very fast. I was trying to push myself through making the doctor's appointments and talking to them and explaining what's going on and different things like that, to try to push me through as quickly as I possibly could to get the answers that I needed, obviously. And I know that not everybody has that opportunity, and I am so thankful that I was able to find the right people. And I knew just enough from reading people's stories. I knew just enough, like, I don't know if this is what's happening, but I also know that I need to really try to see if this is what's happening. So I went in for a referral and a consultation with a PCP on the 20th of January. And this, remember, all of this started in December on the 28th. So January, obviously this is all cleared up. The eye thing is all cleared up. And the only other thing was that I was still getting sick almost every single week with something else. This time it was a chest cold. Can't remember exactly what it was. But she was afraid that I might have an infection in my chest because I was wheezing. But my daughter actually went back to school and somebody was sick, and literally the first day, there were a bunch of people that got sick and like had to leave. Second day, my daughter got it and she actually was out of school as well after the holidays for about a week, I think it was. and other people were out for 2 weeks, different things like that. So I was actually really sick after that. My husband was sick, my daughter was sick, everybody was sick. So it wasn't just me, but it didn't help my immune system at all. So she was worried about, and so she ordered a chest x-ray and some other tests and blood work and different things like that. So we're going to stick with the blood work, and my SED rate was high again, and it was higher than the last time when I had it checked. It was 39, which again, it's not extremely high, and I understand that that's not too much of a concern, because again, I know that can change, right? And then my CRP was 12. They miswrote it on the paperwork, because I absolutely know that I've never had a CRP at 1.2. So the paperwork was incorrect and it was at 12. So again, not extremely high when your CRP should be about 3. So it's not extremely high. I know that some people with autoimmunes are in the hundreds to multiple hundreds. So it's not really that high, but it was higher. I was having many symptoms of different things going on. So she was able to order that. She did refer me, which is awesome. Yeah, so she referred me to a rheumatologist, which I'm grateful for. The only other thing that was wrong was because I keep forgetting, I don't take Tylenol very often, and I always suspected that I probably have an allergy to it or something like that. So I take it about once a year. When I take it, I break out in a rash like completely all over my entire body, and I forgot about that. So that kind of spiked another of my numbers like extremely high. The doctor was a little bit concerned about that, but I explained that I had just come down from a rash right after taking medication, and I suspect that is probably that, but I'm okay with us checking it again, and we'll kind of go from there. So I was able to get the blood work. I was able to get a referral for the rheumatologist, which is great. And I was able to get on his calendar actually 11 days later on the 31st of January. I'm sorry that anybody has struggles with getting into a doctor as fast as I did. I really appreciate that my doctor's office was very proactive in getting me in such a short period of time. So I really was a month into this, where I had the eye issue and different things like that, a month into this, and I was able, a month and a couple days, right? I was able to get into the rheumatologist's office and have a conversation with him, which was, I've never heard of that before. And it may have happened. I just, obviously you hear the stories that go wrong, right? You don't necessarily hear the stories that go right. So I was so happy that I was able to get into the rheumatologist on the 31st. So I was, he ran some tests. He looked at different things like that. He was skeptical. You could tell he was skeptical because I really didn't have very many symptoms other than the eye issue. And I explained and I took pictures of the issues that I'm having with my joints and the swelling. And I thought it was food allergies, and I explained that to him, that I thought it was food allergies because I'll eat something and then I'll break out, and it's really hard to explain what's happening, but I'll kind of like break out in hives sometimes on my stomach, but I'll also break out in my joints and my hands, and everything is just hurts really, really bad. Hands, knees, ankles, toes, just elbows. It hurts, but I honestly did not realize that anything was wrong until the eye issue showed up. And then that was my intro to all of this being like for real. If that makes sense. I know that sounds weird, but I've just been living with all these symptoms for over 10 years that it's just like, okay, well, it's another day. Okay, don't eat that, or don't use that detergent, or don't drink that, or whatever it might be, to where my world kind of came really small, and I there's only a few safe foods that I can eat, and it's really, it is getting really difficult because my body was really reacting to a lot of things. It still does. So nothing has changed since then, but it's been a long road the last 10 years of, okay, I'm gonna stay focused again. So it's been difficult because I have to watch what I eat, and I know that I'm gonna have a reaction with a bunch of different foods. And again, I thought it was food allergies. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll just eliminate whatever it might be, and I'll keep eliminating and eliminating until I have very few foods that I can have that I do not interfere with my system, that don't show up in my joints. Like dairy. I haven't eaten dairy in a very long time. Cow's dairy, sorry. I do have goat's dairy and sheep. I can only have a very small amount, maybe an ounce of goat per day without having a reaction. Sheep cheese, I'm probably about an ounce in that too, maybe 2 ounces, and then I'll start seeing a reaction. But I just really kind of try to keep my cheese down to about an ounce, so I know that I'm gonna be kind of safe. Eggs are an issue. Tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, onions, garlic. Onions I found, I think, are okay, but every once in a while I still react to them, and I'm not exactly sure why. I don't know if it's my immune system at that point in time, it's already sensitive and then it reacts, but sometimes I can have it and I don't have a reaction. So it's very interesting. I'm still trying to monitor all of that, but this has been like a long road of at least 5 years. I've been off of gluten, wheat. I've been off of that since 2016, cow's dairy 2017, and then about 5 years ago, 2019-ish, I really started to eliminate the rest of the foods that were really triggering my body to respond, breaking out, like I said, breaking out in hives. Whenever I have cow's dairy, my intestines are completely upset. So I eliminated that a long time ago. I tried to introduce it maybe 6 months later, and then had a reaction, and then I would allow it to go another 6 months to a year, and then I tried it again, and it was even worse than the time before. So I'm like, okay, I'm fully going to eliminate cow's dairy. Wheat, again, gluten, I was having heart palpitations and I can feel it in my joints. Dairy, I can feel in my joints too. It's like, it feels like somebody is grabbing a knife and like stabbing and twisting. I probably shouldn't have said that word on YouTube, but it just feels like somebody is like pounding something in and twisting. It hurts. It hurts a lot, and this has been happening for over 5 years now. So I just keep thinking, like, if I can eliminate as much as I possibly can, maybe my body will start to feel a little bit better. So I've been slowly doing that, getting rid of things from my diet and cleaning up what I'm having on my body, entering my body, different things like that for quite a while now. It's been a long road, long road. And I don't have an end date in sight either. So I'm gonna get back on topic here. So I was eliminating a bunch of different things to try and make my body feel better and fix certain things. So I showed him the videos and pictures of what was happening to my body, and saying that, okay, I'm gonna go see an allergist, and I'm also gonna see an ophthalmologist because he wanted me to get a deeper look at my eye to see if there is anything long-term that is an issue or whatnot. So so he ran the blood work. This was on the 31st of January. He ran the blood work. The issue that was really high after taking the Tylenol, and that 11 days later was back to like below normal, which is, well, not below normal, it's normal range, below what it was on the 31st. of January. So it pretty much meant that I don't have an infection that's going on, an active infection. It just means that that's what he was worried about, that I had an active infection that is actually causing all of this. I believe is how he put it, or maybe that's how I read it, if that makes sense. But my CRP was still at 12 and my SED rate was high as well at 32. Again, not super high numbers, but it does look like it's like the beginning stages, like everything that we're kind of looking at. It feels like the beginning stages of something is going on, right? So I was able to get that blood work within a couple days. That was great. He did an ANA, it came back positive, but it didn't come back positive for anything in particular. So I believe, I can't remember exactly, I'm looking at the paperwork here really quickly. Yes, so he didn't run any of the autoimmune tests, just ANCA. That's what he ran. So she ran the autoimmune right before. So 11 days earlier, he was like, I'm not going to run it again, but he did an ANAC or ANC. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's the little more detailed test for ANA. And I don't have it written down here, but that's okay. So he ran other tests just to see like what it was and if he could find anything. So right now we're kind of like in a limbo, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so waiting for test results to come in. He did a CTD panel as well when the ANA came back negative. When their ANA came back negative. Mine came back positive, theirs came back negative, and this was in a 2-week period of time. So he wanted to do something a little bit more in depth, a CTD panel, and see how it came back. So we're talking probably a month later when it came back positive, ANA came back positive, and so I'm kind of like in that limbo where I'm kind of going up and down, up and down, up and down. It came back positive for RA. So after that, obviously we know what it is. That's a good thing, right? But I kind of rocked my world just a bit. It's just everything I've been doing for the last 5 years is in hopes that everything will stop hurting, that I can get my body back to health, eliminating so many things and thinking, okay, well, there's an end date to this, right? Because I know that I can fix this and I'll be able to add back in certain vegetables or fruits or different things like that I'm responding to. And I guess coming to the realization that that may never happen if I can't get this under control, kind of set me into a little bit of an issue. I'm the type of person who wants to take the issue that is going on and fix it the best that I possibly can. And really thinking now that I may not ever be able to fix this was really hard for me to process. Very hard for me to process. I went through a lot of crying spells. I went through a lot of, well, what ifs. Everybody goes through them. I've read a lot of Reddit forums. And I know, thankfully, I am at the early stage of this, which is good. I've already done everything that I can to reverse it and keep it at bay for as long as I possibly could. I just have a genetic predisposition to it. I know that most people who do have it have that. There is a small percentage that don't have that genetic predisposition for it, and they still develop it, and they're not exactly sure why. All the research, I went down lots of rabbit holes. I went through and listened to almost anything that I could find from a doctor that was talking about RA on YouTube. I went through so many like doctor seminars and different things like that. Anything about RA, I really dug deep into Canada's. They have, it sounds like a governmental rheumatologist section, and they really are taking information from these patients and they're putting it together and trying to see what correlates everything. I really wish the United States would do this or even contribute to this, because there are a lot of things that I have going on that are very, very common for people with RA. I think that this could be something that could almost be predicted to a certain extent. I'm getting off I'm getting off the topic, but I do think that it would be very beneficial for the United States to kind of look at all of this research and put it all together and take almost like notes from us, the patients, to find out what is, if there's anything that kind of, if there's a pattern. But I look for patterns. That's just my personality. I'm very, like I said, I'm very analytical, and I look for patterns in everything, and I try to find an answer in everything. And I know that sometimes there's just no answers, right? So I was just trying to find a reason, right? I was trying to find something to grasp onto that I could predict, that I could help myself with, that I could live without pain. So many different things. You're just looking for that one thing, right? If you've been diagnosed with something, you know that you're just looking for that way out, that you can fix everything. So, but again, there's not, you can't always fix something, and I'm really coming to terms with that, and I'm starting to understand that a lot more now. And I think that's very important. I'm kind of at the acceptance stage, which is good. It's been a hard couple days, a week or so. I have had to take my pills a lot more often because the pain has just increased significantly, that by the end of the day, I'm in so much pain. Everything. Like I'm almost at the end. I can feel I'm at the end of the day. I take them at night because they make me drowsy. So I take my pills at night so that I can kind of sleep through that drowsiness, but still have the relief also, so I can sleep a little bit better, because I was taking them in the morning and I realized that I wasn't sleeping very well. So I kind of changed it up a little bit and decided to take them at night so that I could sleep a little bit heavier, because they make me a little drowsy, but also, so it kind of takes away the pain. So I can have some peace at night and sleep. So I've had difficulty the last week or so where the pain has increased. I think it's the summer heat. And I'm understanding that. I also notice my triggers are heat, cold, and hormonal shifts. No other nice way to say it. Hormonal shifts. I can tell that my joints hurt a lot more during those time periods. And I think the heat here just kind of has thrown me for a loop. I had an issue last night where I broke down again, because I ended up having breakthrough pain yesterday afternoon. Broke through my pain medicine, but it was difficult because I can feel the pain meds kind of like taper off and stop working. I can feel that. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I'm trying very hard not to be too emotional. It's difficult for your pain meds to wear off and you realize that the pain is coming back, and you realize that you probably won't have another day where the pain won't come back. Like I've had LASIK surgery. I've had my wisdom teeth out. That's pretty much the extent of my surgeries. Obviously my daughter. But you could go on the pain meds and be like, okay, I'm gonna take the pain medication, I'm gonna take it for a couple days because I just need that relief, right? Whenever the pain returns, you're like, okay, well, it's time for more meds, okay? And most of the time, whenever I take medication, pain medication for those instances that I was talking about earlier, it'd be like, okay, I could extend it just a little bit further the next time around, and a little bit further and a little bit further. I really don't like to take medicine just to survive. So I would extend it just a little bit until I could feel that pain. And then I would be like, okay, well, I added an additional 2 hours between doses. Oh, I added an additional 4 hours. Oh, well, I don't really need to take it anymore. I'm okay. But I think just like, I kind of broke down because knowing you won't ever have that option of not being in pain. And maybe I will. Maybe I will. I have to go through the normal insurance route of going through all these meds before I can find the biologic or whatever it might be, before I can go on those. So I'm still doing those steps. So maybe, just maybe, I will be pain-free. So I can't look at it that way, but it's been very difficult because I've been having pain. I have had I've had to take the pills because I needed to make sure that the disease is not actually hurting me more, right? Because the inflammation and the pain is the inflammation. The inflammation is the disease hurting your body. And I'm trying to remember that. The pain is the disease hurting your body. If that is the case, then you need to take the meds to stop that disease from progressing. And I need to keep reminding myself that because that's very important. I don't want the disease to get any worse. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So we take the pills to keep the disease at bay, and I have to keep reminding myself that. But when the pain comes back is when it gets a little bit difficult, because it's just like that pain came back. I have to take my pill. It's been happening an hour or two before the pill, before I should be taking the pill. And that's difficult because I know I can't take it because it's a 24-hour pill. I can't take it. Okay, that's great. And that's fine. That's fine. But when it comes back, the pain comes back. It comes back. I'm sorry. Knowing it's a long road, that pain will probably be there for a little while. I know that I have to work with it. I have to mentally prepare for it. I also don't know when I'm gonna have a flare. That's like the monster around the corner, right? Oh, well, you have to be very careful. You don't want to create a flare, right? Well, you can't overdo it, because if you overdo it, maybe you could cause a problem and that flare is around the corner and you'll have this flare. The last flare I had lasted 6 months, and I can't afford for that to happen again. So I am learning to pace myself. I didn't even want to create this video until I knew that I could record videos and pace myself and still be able to do what I needed to do and produce content. So I have a backlog of videos that I do plan on uploading, but I didn't want to upload them until I knew I was completely ready and I knew I was okay. I didn't want to build something and not be able to keep it up, if that makes sense. So again, I'm getting a little bit off topic. So right now, I've been diagnosed with RA. I am learning to work with it. I am learning to monitor the pain, pace myself. I am learning to continue on, push through. I have a long life to live. Whether that's pain or not pain, that's up in the air, but I still have a long life to live. This is not something that's going to be harmful to me in the next couple days, in the next couple weeks or months. It's not something major. And I say that, and then it's like, but it is, because it's really changing my entire life, and I get it. But I'm thankful that it's not something worse. So I have to figure out a way to live with it, to work around it, to manage the pain, to manage the fatigue, to manage the brain fog. Oh my gosh. The pain just kind of like, I didn't realize it until I've been taking the pill several days, because I just needed to kind of get out of this. I was headed into a flare, and I'm glad I recognized it this time around. And I'm like, okay, I need to take this pill. And I know my doctor says as needed, but my husband's like, you're having a lot of pain. You need to take this pill. So I'm like, yes, you are right. The pain equals the disease and inflammation in my body, which in turn means damage to my body if I don't keep that under control. So I'm like, you are right. I need to take it. So I've been taking it for a couple of days, and the brain fog has lifted because I'm not feeling the pain nonstop. And that is so, I didn't realize it until last night. And I'm like, the pain is coming back. The pain is coming back earlier. Pain is more severe tonight for some reason or another, and I don't know exactly what it was. I was just like, okay, I need to deal with this. I had to cry, and I had to be okay with me crying and understanding and processing those emotions. Sometimes you just need to process the emotions, right? So I am still working on acceptance, if that's what it is. I'm still working on understanding how things are working in my body. I am working on a lot of different things, but I do know that I kind of need, I want to continue this channel. I want to put out something that I think might interest other people. I want that creative outlet a bit, right? So I guess this video is really just to say I am going to start working on this channel again. I'm not sure if anybody's even going to see this video, honestly, and that's okay as well. Sorry, I keep saying I did this to try and help anybody it may be able to help. It doesn't have to be RA, it can be another autoimmune, it could be chronic fatigue, it could be anything that you may be going through right now, and understanding that you're not alone, you're not the only one going through this, I think is helpful to me. I go on Reddit and read some comments and post a few things and different things like that. And I can understand people a little bit more. And I know that video is so much easier just to turn on a video and understand and connect with somebody. And I hope that's what can happen with this video, is that you can understand you're not alone. we're all kind of struggling and fumbling our way through this. It's just, it's not the easiest thing to accept. We're in August, but I'm still every day kind of like accepting the situation that I'm in. But I can't ignore it because I've done everything that I can prior to this diagnosis in March. I believe it was March. Finally got the results back and the confirmation and different things like that. But I guess when you think about it, it's really only been 5-6 months. That's not very long at all. We're in August. We're just at the beginning of August. That's not a very long time to work on acceptance, right? So I am working on that. I hope that this is encouraging to somebody. I really want to be helpful, not bring back bad memories or anything like that. I want to be here to encourage you, to help you through. It's not easy, and I understand that, but it's also can be easier if you know you're not alone. And I think right now I kind of feel alone, and I feel like maybe knowing somebody else is going through the same thing, we're on the same, not all on the same path, right? But we were there, or we will be there. Somebody's at a different stage, but it's all seems to be the same path. It might just be we're at different stages, and that's okay. I don't know how to end this video, honestly. I don't know how to end this. I am, again, speaking from the heart. I may have rambled sometimes. I'm really trying to keep it, it's like in my throat. I'm trying very hard to keep it together and not cry. I am trying very hard to bring this across correctly, that I just want this to be encouragement to somebody, sorry, who may be going through this, may have started the journey. I don't know. You may see this in 6 months. You may see it in a year, 2 years. I may be at a completely different situation at that point in time. But we all started out somewhere, right? We all started out with that diagnosis and that questioning and that that deep rabbit hole that you go down because you're researching anything and everything that you possibly can because you just want answers. You just want answers. You want to find out, how can I fix this? And there's so many people out there that say you can't fix it. And then there are other people who are out there that say, I did this and I reversed it completely. You're going to find answers someplace that work for you and don't work for other people. It's just, it's all over the place. But I did do the cow's dairy free. I did do the gluten free. I did the eliminations to try and fix this ahead of time. And I do think that I held it back for as long as I possibly could. But I do think that I was on that path to reach this anyways, unfortunately, because my predisposition to it, my genetics. I think that it was just, I was on that path anyways. And I think I prolonged it by doing all of this stuff. And it sometimes hurts because people have good intentions. And I know that's what it is. And I try to avoid it. And I get it. But they're always like, well, what about this? Did you try this? And did you try that? And I know that their intentions are good. And I take it that way, is the best that I possibly can. I've tried everything. I've tried it before I had this actual diagnosis, and I kept it at bay as long as I possibly could. But it was that one trigger, and I know what the trigger was. I know what it was. Can't reverse it now. Can't reverse it. It was that one trigger. It was, I believe, those infections. My immune system was down because I was a little bit stressed out because of certain things happening. I'm trying to keep that at bay. And again, pace myself, pace my emotions, pace everything, right? But it was that one trigger. And I do believe that it didn't help me getting sick every single week. There was an infection, I think, that probably just pushed me over the edge. And I have not been able to get my pain level back to pre-November of last year. I can't get my pain level to, numbers are numbers are kind of all over the place, right? One number to you might be a completely different number of pain to me, but my pain level is double of what it was in November of last year. So I don't know that I ever, for the last several years, I don't think I've not had pain, if that makes sense, because I knew something was wrong, because I have that little bit of pain everywhere, with the joints and different things like that. But with me eliminating so many foods, I was able to eliminate it enough to where it was just like a pulse, almost like a level 1 to level 2 on bad days of pain. But it's almost like I can't get below that level 4 pain. It's like double of what it was originally, whether it's 3 or 4. I just can't get back down there no matter what I do. I can't diet well enough. I can't eliminate well enough. I can't fast enough. I can't do enough to get my body back down to what it was prior to October, November of last year. And again, that's very difficult because I'm the one that wants to fix things. And I know people have good intentions, and I do believe that I lowered my risk as much as I possibly could. But I just hope this was an encouragement to you. I want to try to be able to help somebody with their process, with what they're going through. Because I don't want you to feel alone. I have a wonderful husband who is there to support me every step of the way. He listens to me, but I don't want to ramble on to him nonstop about this. So I hope that this can be a place where you feel safe. If you want to respond, you can comment in the comment section. I'm not great about long comments. I'm not very I'm not fast at pulling information out of my brain and putting it on paper. That is not one of my skill sets. But if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you need some encouragement, please feel free to leave a comment below. Even if it's just, I don't know, an emoji that shows how you feel. That's okay as well. And I will really try to comment and help encourage you. We're all going through something, whether it's an autoimmune, whether it's chronic fatigue, anything, okay? We're all going through something, right? Something. And I just hope that this encourages you to find your answers, to push through. I had to push the doctors. I had to do whatever it took to get my answers. They were a lot faster than a lot of people, and I understand that. And I am very, very appreciative for that. My doctor's office was on top of it nonstop. They really got down to the answers, whether it was him trying to prove that nothing was wrong, which I almost feel that's what he was trying to do, is he's like, nothing's wrong with you, but we'll run all these tests because I don't think anything's wrong with you. I really think that's what he was trying to prove. But that's okay. Got my answers anyways, and that's all right. I have to see him every 3 to 4 months, and we kind of just work it out together. So I think he really was just trying to prove that nothing was wrong with me. And that's okay. It's not that I wanted to prove something was right with me either. I'm like, I want to know that nothing's wrong with me as well. So let's just run the test. Let's do what we need to do to make sure that I can get the answers that I need, because I feel like I've been living with this for a very long time. And I've been keeping it at bay as long as I possibly can. And I did explain that to him. I've been trying to keep this contained for a very long time. So yes, I may just be early RA, but I've been trying really hard to keep it at bay for such a long time with diet, exercise, whatever I can. And I'm rambling on again. I need to go ahead and finalize this video. I just want to encourage you, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Leave any emoji that might feel comfortable to you. I'm an introvert, so I am more of the type of person who can't pull thoughts out of their brain very well. So video is a lot better for me. But if you can't think of comments or anything like that, put some emojis in there, just to know you're not alone. We're all going through something. We'll make it through. I am going to continue producing some content. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look like at the moment, but it's going to be things that interest me, and I hope they interest you as well. I just hope this video can encourage you to do what's best for you and get your answers from the doctors. Do what you need to do. Push for those answers, because those answers may not be the answers we want, but at least they're answers, and we can move forward with that and change things if we need to. So I really appreciate you watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have a blessed day.